Hey Tube, it's Evan Magician 34, and these are your top 5 Legacy of Darkness cards, plus a few extras. Our honorable mention number 1 is Injection Fairy Lily, secret rare from the set. Reason she deserves mention is because, let's face it, she's a no tribute monster who can theoretically slam your opponent for 3,400 points. Yeah, it costs you 2,000 to do it, but she's very low level, easily searchable, easily recruitable. Frankly, it's just a power boost that other cards don't offer in a very accessible form, and that's worth talking about. Coming in at number 7, a very good card indeed, Creature Swap. Allows you to steal a monster in any position, theoretically. Pretty much no restrictions. In fact, it even offers you the potential to profit from it by giving your opponent a monster like, say, one that likes to die in battle, or with an effect like Sangan. So in many ways, this card's actually better than other stealing cards. Obviously, there are a lot of restrictions, like if your opponent has many monsters on the field, but a lot of times you'll find your opponent with just one big monster on the field, or you'll find an opponent who's easy to relieve of their extra monster. So, really, a very noteworthy card, very powerful even today. Our last honorable mention is going to be Bottomless Trap Hole. This one pretty much speaks for itself. It just pretty much, obviously Destroy is an effect that can be gotten around with things like Stardust Dragon and whatnot, but for the most part, it just gets rid of and removes from play, which is much more permanent than just sending to the grave, any monster of any significant size. It's 1,500 or more. And let us not forget that this gets more than just one monster, and it doesn't target, which is another advantage. So if your opponent ever summons multiple monsters at once via cards like Dimension Fusion or Return from the Different Dimension and so on, this card can actually snag them all. But as we get into our top 5, we'll get to some more serious cards, like Last Turn. It's easy to forget why this card is so powerful. The straightforward way to say it is just get a big fat monster onto the field, and that just gets easier and easier with time. Flip this during your opponent's turn, and they have to find something in their deck bigger than your guy. And in fact, right now, when I'm making this video, actually there are not that many huge monsters in most decks. They're usually somewhere in the extra deck. And even if Last Turn isn't necessarily the easiest to kill with, it's very easy to produce draws with this. There are a lot of combos. Even something as simple as Spirit Reaper being set and picking it with Last Turn, since your monster doesn't have to be face up. Very easy to create frustrating situations for an opponent and get out of situations you probably didn't deserve to get out of otherwise. And getting yourself to 1,000 or less life points can be easy to set up. You can use cards like Wall of Revealing Light and so on to get to it fairly controlledly. But card number 4 easily outshines it. Reinforcement of the Army. Searching for any warrior of level 4 or less has always been very powerful. This was one of the most crucial cards back in the much-feared days of Dark-Armed Dragon and then Teledad, which came after it. This card was arguably one of the most powerful cards just because of the consistency it offered them when it was at multiple copies. And even today, it's still at 1, once again, as of when I make this video. Just unrestricted searching power of one of the game's best monster types. Plain, simple, works so well. Card number 3, Royal Oppression. The power to not only negate a special summon, but to negate many special summons in a row. And not just to negate special summons, which is only half the glory, also the power to negate effects, which generate special summons. So unlike Thunder King Ryo and effects like that, for example, this card can also stop effects like Monster Reborn, which many other negations of special summons don't get. This gets the inherents and the effects, which is a very powerful difference. It's only a few words off, but it's significant. I think Solemn Warning taught us that. And this card, even though it's a double-edged sword, the fact that you control it and you're the one who decides when it flips and what deck you're running, so you may or may not be hurt by it, obviously devastating. And certain decks obviously profit even more. You got decks like Gadgets and so on that really were just terrors with this card in multiple copies. However, card number 2 is in a whole other league. Fiber Jar, a card which got banned and will almost surely never come back for the simple reason that it pretty much just erases the entire game. It takes hand, grave, and everything, just puts it, and field, puts it all back into the deck for both players and gives them 5 other cards. So it basically resets the game, and all you have to do is flip the thing. But the catch is, your life points remain the same, and cards that are removed from play stay removed from play. So this card's very easy to manipulate around and take advantage of for all kinds of unfair combos. Really, recovery out of bad situations is just the tip of the iceberg. Unlike most cards like its cousin Cyber Jar, the fact that you're the one who controls when it flips, it almost always flips at a good time for you. Either they're going to attack it and flip it, well, they're already in their battle phase, they're not going to kill you now because they have nothing except cards in their hand, which aren't too threatening. Or if they don't attack it, you can always just flip it during your own turn, and you're going to get it in main phase 1, so you get those new 5 cards you can play and take advantage of. The list just goes on and on. It's way too powerful of an effect. There's virtually no cost or anything. But card number 1 edges it out, Yata-Garasu. I mean, it seems relatively innocuous. It's an incredibly small monster. You can't even special summon it. But if it hits your opponent, they skip their draw. It's like Time Seal. And it hops back into your hand so that it's safe at the end of the turn, like all spirit monsters do. Pretty nasty thing as a result. Obviously, the combo for it back in the old days was to use Chaos Emperor Dragon to wipe the field, killing your Witch of the Life Forest or your Sangan, searching this, normal summoning it, and then your opponent never ever drew a card, and you just kept drawing them. But there are lots of ways to get into situations like that, and the power of basically just one card to lock your opponent out of a draw repetitively forever is just way too good. The fact that you can search it so easily. Just a devastating card. Shouldn't exist. I think those of you who played when this card was around know why it's that powerful, and even though it's banned doesn't mean it isn't powerful now. If this card came back, we'd see a lot more play from the kind of cards that facilitate this. So, most powerful card in Legacy of Darkness, for me, has to be Yata-Garasu. And so until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more cool videos.